Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from SpeechModification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. In this video, we're going to talk about the words doze, dozen, doesn't, close, and cousin. You'll see how these are related based on how they're pronounced, and we have a couple of categories of words and sounds here. I think for these words, it's not necessarily so much that the pronunciation is challenging, it's more that the spelling can be misleading and make you think the word should have a different pronunciation. So we're going to use the spelling to help us and rewrite these words in a manner that will make sense to your brain to pronounce them correctly. So first of all, looking at the word doze, it does follow a pattern for American spelling, which is that when we have an E, a silent E at the end of a word, it does what's called makes the letter say its name. So in a word with an O followed by a silent E, the O will say O, which is the diphthong, the long American O. Letter Z says Z in doze, so that's pretty straightforward. So you just want to have that, make sure that you're long enough on your O. O, do, doze. In the word dozen, however, there's an E after the O, but it's in its own syllable. It's not a word ending with E, which is what we call that one the silent E, because it doesn't make any sound. What it does is affects the other vowel. In this case, dozen, the E is actually not really pronounced very much. It's part of that second syllable, which is a syllabic N. So in dozen, we have first syllable stress, but our O doesn't really follow the rules here. It is a vowel schwa, and it sounds like I should probably write that as UH instead of just U. So dozen. And then we don't really do much of a vowel, as I said, for this E. We just go right from the Z sound to the N sound. Dozen, zun. So just trying to have your tongue move from that Z position behind the teeth and lifting up into the N. Dozen, zun. In the word dozen, I can hold my N a little bit. It doesn't have to be a short N, but it is an unstressed syllable. So my does syllable is long and my N syllable is fairly short. Then when we looked at the word doesn't, we have a different spelling, but you can notice the same sound. So it also has a schwa and a Z and an N. It sounds like doesn't, even though it's spelled differently, and we have the letter S saying Z. So that's one thing to watch out for in the word does and doesn't, that S says Z. In the word doesn't, you'll often notice that when a native speaker says this word, he or she doesn't say that T sound. So we use what's called a stopped T there, which means in order to perceive that I'm saying T, I need to make that N very short. Doesn't. He doesn't go. He doesn't like it. She doesn't need that. Doesn't is going to be different than dozen, because in dozen, my N is going to be longer and more like a full syllable. I can say doesn't like it, but it does affect my fluency. You can hear how that doesn't flow as smoothly if I say the T. So you'll notice that that final T is often a stopped T in American English. You can get more help for the stop T and all of the different sounds of English in our Sounds of English course on SpeechModification.com. It'll talk about some of those details for you. Check that out. Okay, then going back to our words close and cousin, these are included because doze and close are rhyming words, but spelled differently. So again, the E makes the O say the true diphthong O in English. And in this case, letter S also says the Z sound. So spelling might make you think that these should be different, but actually doze and close both end with the O's sounds. And then cousin actually rhymes with dozen. It has the same vowel schwa and the same Z and N sounds, even though it's spelled differently for the vowel schwa. And again, the letter S says Z in the word cousin. The syllabic N is spelled with an IN, and here it's spelled with an EN. So if it helps you, if you know you're saying cousin correctly, that can help you with dozen. If you know you're saying doze correctly because of the Z, that can help you with close. Knowing how these words interact and getting the sounds despite the spelling is the purpose of this Word of the Day class. Thank you for that request. And if you have a request for a word or words you'd like to see covered in our Word of the Day series, feel free to leave that in the comments for this video or any of my videos. Check out our free and low-cost online courses on speechmodification.com. They range from everything like Word of the Day classes to Sounds of English to build a foundation for pronunciation, all the way to American Accent 6-week courses, which help you build a natural sounding American accent when you're speaking American English. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everybody. Hope to see you again soon.